In recent years, online fitness coaching has exploded. This is a good thing for the most part. Look, for those of you who want to be online coaches or are now, today's episode, we're talking about the 5 factors you need to consider to become successful. Today's episode, online fitness coaching.
I'm so proud you kept a straight face.
Why?
He's such a robot now, bro. You can't even mess with him anymore.
He's a professional.
Oh, with your sounds?
Yeah, just
we're working on our explosion noises.
I like it.
Messing up
I don't
over
think
here.
it's funny at all. So online coaching, it's been a thing now for, what would you say, at least 10 years? Kind of been a thing.
Yeah.
But it really, really took off during COVID. There was a huge spike in interest and in the amount of people who became online coaches for obvious reasons, right? People couldn't go to gyms. A lot of trainers couldn't train their clients. And so everybody kind of went to that online space. And then in general, there was a huge interest in just health and fitness and overall. I think people were just like, I got to do something.
The new part to that is people considering that as a focus of their career without even being a trainer first, which is a totally new thing. It was nice because initially for us and for other people that were like-minded in terms of looking at the future of personal training, it was like, oh, this could be a nice addition to your service offerings, right? Like this is something that you can incorporate if they're traveling or whatever. But now there's actual coaches that are strictly virtual only.
Yeah,
I think I think we, in the last, I'd say 15 years, we saw 2 big explosions. And I do think COVID was one of them. But even before COVID, the introduction to Instagram as a social media platform really did this and we saw this, remember early on, we talked a lot about Shreds as a company. And there was a few companies like Shreds that saw Instagram as a great marketing tool, and that the fitness space was kind of untouched or untapped from that angle. Mm-hmm. And they gathered up all these popular kids that had great bodies and physiques, no real experience of training people in real life, and they marketed online coaching with them. And they made a lot of money doing that because they were some of the first, and it was just sheer volume. They had millions of followers, and they had these great physiques that also, by the way, they got caught photoshopping and doing things too, that they used to market themselves, to sell the supplements, and to sell their own online coaching. And I really think they exploded that first, and then COVID just accelerated it.
Yeah, and I think there's a misconception too, or a misunderstanding that this is an easy way to build a business in the fitness space.
Right.
I would say it's probably more challenging to build a business just purely being online. Although there's a lot of pluses, right? So you have this kind of unlimited potential for reach. You're not limited by distance, right? People don't have to be close to you. You can literally coach somebody that's on the other side of the world. But on the other hand, it's hard to get through the noise. There's like, how are you going to get people to find you? And then when they do, how are you going to build enough value to someone that you've never met before, who's going to be willing to pay you to coach them through this process? It's a challenging side of the fitness space, I think. However, if you do it right, you can build a really nice, successful business. We know a lot of online coaches like this where they've built their businesses online, and they're doing really, really well, getting people good results. And a lot of people like the online coaching from a client perspective because it typically is less of an investment than in-person training. And a lot of online coaches kind of offer this daily support that you don't necessarily get with the typical personal trainer. Not all online coaches do this, but a lot of people like that they could text this person throughout the day and get some advice. It's definitely a new side or new kind of space in the fitness industry, relatively speaking, when it comes to training. But I will say, like, a lot of people really have a lot of misconceptions about how to build an online coaching business. There's a lot of misconceptions, misunderstandings, and I think it's important we talk about like what's important and how to make this work for yourself and build a successful business.
I think there's a big misconception on what makes a really good trainer. And I think that, to your point about there's a lot of people on social media that are competing against each other, but I would say they're all competing to attract the same clientele who doesn't know any better and is just trying this out for the first time. And that if you want to build a long-term successful business in the space, the key, even though we're going to go over 5 things to consider when doing this, is to truly chase mastery as a trainer and as a coach over trying just to gain attention.
Yeah.
I think that that's the first mistake that's made by a lot of these trainers is they get so caught up in acquisition and how many clients can I get to, or how many people can I get to pay attention to me and see me. That's this game of volume, when really what they should be focusing on is their craft and how good they are at servicing, even if it's only a person or two that they're helping, but really focusing on mastery over that and not getting so much caught up in acquisition. You know, we had a recent event where we were talking to some trainers and they had all these ideas on to how to scale their business. And they were already, you know, training like 15 or 17 clients. And they're like, you know, what do you think of these ideas? And I'm like, well, instead of you trying to come up with these other ideas to scale your business, why don't you just continue to add value to the current 15 people that you have? And then maybe you can charge a higher price for your service, or you'll get feedback from them on their needs and their wants. Instead of going, hey, I've got this other idea or other thing I want to do, focus on continuing to add value to the current audience that you do.
Yeah, so you're talking about having, okay, so I think it goes without saying that you need to have a good online presence. And what Adam's talking about is you know, think about adding value and about retention. Now, why do I need to say this? Right? Every business understands this. If you talk about almost any other business, they would say, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Once you get a client or a customer, you want to retain them. You want to add a lot of value. You want them to regard you as
that's always secondary in the conversation.
Yes,
to acquisition.
Yeah, so I think it's because social media has devalued people that you're connected to, because we look at them as like followers, right? We label them as followers. I have 1,000 followers. I have 10,000 followers. I have 500 followers. I've heard too many online coaches say things like, "Well, I have a small online presence." Well, how many people are following you on your pages? Oh, just, 400 people. I would have killed to have 400 potential people that I could talk to and contact as a personal trainer in a brick and mortar gym.
Correct.
And no brick and mortar business would ever say that. Imagine if you owned a studio, a personal training studio, and you had access to 400 real people that are watching what you're doing and listening to what you're saying. That's a lot of people. I mean, even 50 is a lot of people. So when you have that many people, think value and retention. All right, what does that look like? Well, when I do a post on social media about something, it could be anything, diet or exercise related or whatever, and somebody comments, that's no different than somebody peeking their head in your studio and saying, hey, here's a comment I have on that thing you're doing. Now, what are you going to do? Ignore them? No, you're going to talk to them back, engage with them, potentially lead them to your DMs so you can continue to build value by offering them more free coaching, free services, whatever, because that person can very often become a client. Instead, what people do, a big mistake people do with their online presence when they're trying to be an online coach, is they just look at numbers of followers. Ooh, I added 10 people today. Let's see if I can add 20 tomorrow. Let's see if I can add 1,000. Ooh, I have a viral video. I added 500 new followers. Like, the person you have in front of you is worth way more than the potential people you have to try and gather tomorrow. All right, today's giveaway is Maps Aesthetic. To enter to win, leave a comment below this video the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. This episode is brought to you by a sponsor, Hiya Health. This is a vitamin for children that isn't just a candy. It's not filled with sugar, and it has good nutrients, the right nutrients for your children. This is the only multivitamin we give to our own kids. Anyway, check them out and get yourself 50% off. Go to hiyahealth.com. That's HIYA health.com/mind pump. Again, that link gives you 50% off. Also, today's sale, MAPS 15, half off. The bikini bundle of programs, half off. And the shredded summer bundle of programs, also half off. If you're interested, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, here comes the show.
You want people based off of your reputation that you put out there, not based off of what hacks you figured out. You want your craft to speak for itself. You want that to take on a life of its own, create evangelists that will then, convince all these other potential clients that this is the place to go. And, that's so much more powerful. Not just, you're going to see a bit of an initial bump, but later on down the road, to have that as your business model, as opposed to just pure volume. Now you're going to be filtering out a lot of people that may not have had the same experience because you haven't put all the effort into the quality of what you're actually providing.
Yeah, it's interesting because we all know, obviously we're in the new media space. We know people personally with tens of thousands of followers who have 7-figure businesses. And we also know people with hundreds of thousands of followers that can't scrape together $30,000 or $40,000 a year in business or less.
Yeah.
So the amount of followers you have is irrelevant. What's relevant are the amount of people that you're actually impacting, working with, and building value. The people that really want to hear what you have to say who are considering hire you. So when you get that one comment or that like that's a person that just walked into your business. What you need to think to yourself is, how can I add more value to that person that just commented under my post? How can I engage with them? And how can I get that person to view me as somebody very valuable that they might want to hire?
Well, there's an exercise that I have these trainers do when they ask a question like this. And I said, you're asking yourself the wrong question. You're asking yourself, why can't I, or why don't I have 10,000 followers? The better question is, why do the 30 or 40 people that do follow me, why aren't they buying training from me?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a better question. So, and that should be where your time should be focused on, is like, if you have the eyeballs of just 20 to 50 people, which most people do, most people turn on their Instagram and can get the attention of at least 20 to 50 people, right? And so the question is not, how do I get to 1,000 or 500 people, is what is it about the 20 people that are following me that I can add enough value to them that they would potentially buy personal training from me? And if they're not, why would you go waste your time getting more attention when you can't even get the current attention to be interested in what it is that you have to offer? So that is the better strategy to solve that answer or that problem first, before you even worry about acquiring more people. And many times that is because what you're doing, what you're providing for free, because social media, when you do a post, is free for free content. What you're providing for free isn't even valuable enough for people to pay attention, listen, or comment. And so that is the first problem that you need to solve, is to be able to give enough free information and content that gets the people paying attention to you to engage and talk to you. Solve that problem first, and then what you'll see as a byproduct, you'll start to add people, because those people will go, oh, wow, this was a really interesting post, or this really helped me out. And then that person shares it with somebody who they know that might be helpful to also, which is the person that you want to attract to your page, not some random person because you did some viral clip, or because you use a catchy song that everybody's doing, or you took your shirt off and
they
you
just
look
want
awesome.
to look at you.
Yeah. So instead of focusing so much on trying to add more numbers, ask yourself, what is it that you could be doing to get the people that are currently paying attention to you even interested in what you have to offer?
What's interesting about this is, we're talking about online coaches. The average, and there's variance here, okay, because some online coaches run their businesses differently than others. But on average, if you're a successful online coach, you're by yourself and you're working with people, what are you going to have, 30 to 50 clients a month at most, right? 30 to 50, that's a lot.
Yep.
How many followers do you need to gain 30 to 50 customers, right? You don't need a lot. You just need to provide a lot of value. Mm-hmm. I mean, 100 people that really value what you have to say, that think, man, this person knows their stuff, that this person actually has some authority, is way more valuable than 10,000 people that just want to look at your pictures. Those are almost worthless in terms of, building a business. So it's all about retention and building value, and spend a lot of time on each and every single person that reaches out and contacts you and comments or likes or whatever. See if you could turn them into a real follower, not just a looker.
Which transitions perfectly into the second point, which is using good programming. I mean, you should then focus on, so let's pretend you have only 1 or 2 clients. Instead of being so focused on trying to get more, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th client, figure out how to really service and take care of the 1 or 2. Because if you can change that person's life, one of those 2 clients you have, you can change their life through good programming, a good plan for them. They're more likely to go out and go tell 10 of their friends that they should buy
the
personal
walking
training.
billboard.
Yeah. Versus being so hung up again on getting more attention and more clients.
It's just so interesting to me because, we all train people in person. The same rules apply here. Let me ask you guys this as when you were trainers. What was easier, getting a current client to re-sign with you, or having to find a brand new client?
It's the difference between 80% and 12%.
Yeah.
Okay. So 12% of it's to convert a new person, the average trainer who just gets started, closes at like 12 to 20%, 20% on the high
And that's
end.
if they can get a person in front of them.
Right. That's okay. So 12 to 20%. the average resign is 80%. You have clients that you've serviced. So you're far better off paying attention to and focusing on the client you already have in front of you and changing their life, and then them recommending somebody else, because that will start to snowball. Now, it's a slower process than comparing to the kid who went viral and all of a sudden has 1,000 people paying attention to him, but it's a better process. It's a more sustainable process. It's how you actually build a business. It's not how you just get and sell a couple deals. It's how you actually learn how to be a good coach through changing people's lives.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, and you know you're seeing not a lot of re-signs, and that should be a huge red flag. You know, you're going to be a going out of business, because you know to constantly get enough volume of people to kind of go through your system, and then continuously kind of forecast that, like, how is this going to play out if I'm not servicing the current clientele I have to the 100th degree of effort that I can? You know, it's just going to be a failing business.
Yeah. Now we're talking about workout programming, and you know, this is a bit of an issue in the online coaching world. Online coaching places more of an emphasis on diet and nutrition coaching, and less of an emphasis on workout. In fact, I know a lot of online coaches that do nothing with workouts. The client just works out on their own. Then the coach just helps them with their diet. Now, I get it. I get that, you know, helping someone with the nutrition is very important, especially if you're in contact with them on a daily basis. It actually makes a lot of sense. But if you can provide this person with good workout programming, you're going to separate yourself from your peers. Because a good workout, look, I don't think I need to say this to our audience, but the difference between results and no results many times is good workout programming. There's a science to it. Now, I'd like to communicate this to our audience, especially if you're a trainer or coach. Use our training programs as templates. If you have MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Aesthetic, MAPS Performance, MAPS Symmetry, whatever, and you're following those programs, look at the programming and modify it for your client. Write one up for your client. You've got good programming there. You don't have to start from scratch, but use them as templates or as guides so that you can write workouts for people that actually work. Now, think about it this way. You're helping them with their diet, and it's really successful, but you've also given them a very effective workout. Now think of your value then.
I'm going to skip a point because the next one doesn't follow as well as the one after that, which is actually giving your service. Don't be afraid to give your services free, because one of the challenges when you first get started and you're trying to build your clientele to get the experience is, man, this is really tough to get this experience when I only get one client here, one client there. And it used to blow my mind when I get trainers like that. And I'm like, what are you doing with your other hours? Mm-hmm. Why are you not putting people in front of you? Why are you afraid to give your services away to somebody to get the practice, to learn, to get better at your craft, to chase mastery? Like, you're far better off doing that. And for some reason, we're in this weird time where people feel like they have to do they compute the math. Well, my time is valued at this, and I would never do that. I'm going to devalue my training services if I offer this for free. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, your main focus should be becoming great at what you do and chasing mastery, getting practice. And I use the analogy a lot with this podcast. It was exactly our strategy with 5 episodes a week. There wasn't some algorithm we were trying to hack. There was not some reason behind, like, oh, we're going to do 5 because this is what will get us to the, no. We thought, we knew we were going to suck at this, and we've never done it before. And if we're going to get good at it, we're going to throw ourselves in the fire, and we're going to do as many hours of it as we possibly can. And we're not going to worry about, trying to analyze every one we do and then wait another week before we do another one. It's like, no, let's just get the reps. Let's do another one and do another one and do another one.
Analysis by analysis.
Yes. And get those hours under your belt. The same thing goes with if you're a personal trainer and you're just getting started and you're trying to get good at this. Do not be afraid to give your services or donate those hours to people to learning your craft.
Well, this goes with the first point about adding value. If you're getting started in online coaching, why don't you get yourself 10 clients for free? Get yourself 10 clients that will let you coach them for free and then work with them and build value with them and build value with them. It'll be easier to get them to pay you later than it will to get brand new people to pay you right off the gates. So, and by the way, this is going to help illuminate a few things, because if you're getting started and you can't get 10 people to hire you for free, you're not going to sell any, right? Yeah. You're not going to sell anything. So this is a good way for you to know when, is it a good time for me to start charging for my services? Well, you can't get free clients. You're not going to get some.
Listen, even with all the experience I have in personal training, when I went over into the online space, I looked around at all the different online coaches that were out there and I looked at their pricing. And I came underneath that. Even though I valued myself higher than that and know that I'm probably better than a lot of those coaches that were offering those services, that wasn't the desired outcome for me yet. The desired outcome was I need to go figure this out. Even though I've been a great trainer to people in person, this online model is new for me. So let me take my skills, my experience, my education. I'm moving into a new space. Now I care about practice and learning and getting feedback from the clientele. So what did I do? I came underneath what the average price was. I'm going to come underneath. First goal was just get my schedule booked. Now underneath might be zero, to your point. So if you have no skills, no education, no experience, and you're trying to figure this out, maybe it is offering your services free. Luckily, I had a little bit of a name for myself in the space, so all I had to do was undercut everybody to get my book filled up right away. Then my book was filled up, and it was like listening and hearing feedback from the people I was currently training and what other services people were offering, and then trying to come over the top of that. Oh, this person, they do check-ins once a week. Well, what if I communicate with my people daily? Oh, these people, all they do is do a diet. They don't even go over a workout. Oh, what if I offer a workout and a diet and I have a check-in? Oh, what if I actually add a free recipe every single week and I have it emailed to them every single week and I automate that? Oh, that would be cool. Oh, what if I automate this motivational tip that hits them every single day so they open up their phone and they get this? Like I started thinking of all these ways that I could be way more valuable than any of my competition out there on top of servicing these people really well through good coaching and training. And then what I would do is each time I would have an opening, I would increase my price. And then I would increase my price again. And then before you knew it, I'm charging 4 or 5 times what the average trainer was. But I wasn't afraid, even with all my experience, to start much lower just so I could gain the experience to load my books up. And then the goal was, can I prove that I'm better than anybody else out there doing it?
Right. Now, along those lines, another valuable thing you could do is build an online group. Facebook allows you to do this. In fact, for free, you can build a group on there, a page, name it whatever you want, Sal's, online coaching group or whatever. Invite people in. And now you can start to build a community where people can communicate with each other, see other people that are working with you. You also have a very easy way to communicate to all of your people all at once. And you also have a very, very valuable way to offer free services to people so that you can pluck from there brand new clients. And these online groups, in fact, are growing faster than almost any other page on Facebook. This is an absolute must for
it's a shared experience too, and then like you said, there's accountability kind of built in there. And also just a lot of times there's more touch points. And so what we've learned about like managing people is like, you cannot have enough attention, like that you can never provide enough attention. And so this is also another way to kind of pile on top of what you're already providing service-wise with, a group of people collectively doing the same thing.
There's also this expectation that this is where business is a little bit different today than it was 20 years ago, building your business, is because of all the free information that is at the tips of everybody's fingers through YouTube and through these Facebook groups and through newsletters. And there's a lot of free content or Reddit like that people have access to. And so there is a part of doing business now where you have to compete with all that noise. And one of the ways to do that is to create a Facebook group where you yourself, as the leader of that group, is providing your value to the space. Right. So I use that Facebook group to add, this is where you could put recipes.
Right.
This is where you could have the workout of the day. This is where you can drop studies and talk stuff, or you can create dialogue around things that people are debating in the fitness space, or maybe you're sharing other podcast episodes that are really informative or good for your people. But you start to build this community of people that are like-minded, that are wanting to change their physique or do something in that space, since that's what you do for a living, and that this is a network of people that you potentially could pull from. Now, what's cool is that you start off with this as a free community, and then eventually that might be something you could charge for as you build value into it and as you automate things. So people that have maybe found us in maybe the last 5 years and didn't know how we started, our Facebook group originally was free. When we first started that Facebook group, we didn't charge for that. But what's great is that we've continued to add value. We have now doctors and other trainers, and like we have really, really high level people inside that forum, including ourselves, that are helping and coaching and doing things for people that we can now actually charge for even that Facebook. Now, I would tell people to start off free if I was building my business by myself. But if you continue to do a good enough job of adding value to that group, you even have the opportunity to charge or just use it as a consistent top of the funnel or a lead magnet.
Totally. Now, finally, when you are working with people, don't overcomplicate the process. There's a lot of these kind of online tools and apps now that revolve around online coaching. And oftentimes, I've seen this happen a few times, where an online coach makes the process so complicated that it's hard to follow, that the client's like, oh my gosh, I got to enter things here, do this, follow that, whatever. When it could be as simple as some text messages and here's your workout and then let me know what you think type of deal. Now, why is simple important? Now, I'm not talking against things that make things efficient. That's good. It's good to make things efficient. But you want to keep things simple because just like with personal training, when we were trainers, when I first got started, I thought the more complicated my workouts were, the more valuable I would appear. The absolute opposite proved to be true. Later on, it was the simple workouts that proved to be tremendously valuable. It was my ability to teach someone how to squat properly, not how to do a different 500 different variations of squats with overhead presses and curls combined with it. It was the simplicity that gave me the best results, or give my clients the best results. So keep things simple so that this person can find good success. Don't get caught up in all the tech apps.
When we first started the podcast, we had a friend of ours, a mutual friend, who was building an app, and he was spending a ton of money and time and effort into, and it was very sophisticated. It was designed to basically build in the progressive overload, and it had all these bells and whistles. It was really, it was really, really cool. But the three, and I remember when he presented to each of us this app, and and I'm probably in hopes that we would be excited and help get behind it. Maybe we would talk about it on the show one day. And all of us kind of looked at each other, and then he was a friend, and so none of us really wanted to burst his bubble because how much time and money he'd already spent on this app. But all of us looked at each other and be like, this is really cool, but a terrible business idea. And the reason why we thought it was terrible is because we had all these years of experience training people. And what we had realized for so many years is like, man, the KISS method is so much better when you're trying to get people to adhere to diet and exercise. Yeah. And having an app that is so sophisticated that it's, changing, and you got to enter percentages and figure out like that stuff is for the average person. They're not going to follow that.
If it took him, he was a trainer, he was explaining it to other experienced trainers, us. It took him over an hour before he could kind of explain it. And for us to kind of get what he had, how are you going to explain this to the average person who doesn't have this experience and doesn't want to sit here for an hour?
Well, they get blinded. What happens is trainers get blinded by something that they geek out and get excited. So you have to keep that in mind, that you may think this app, you may think this thing is, oh, this is super user-friendly and this is super cool. But it's like, if the average person is not going to do it, if it's an extra step for them to do another thing besides already committing to going to the gym and committing to eating their meal plan, it's going to be really difficult to get people to adhere to that.
Yeah, well, there's really an art to what you present in front of a potential client, in terms of not overcomplicating it, not providing them with information overload, and to be able to do it at the opportune time. So what they need to hear when they need to hear it. And I mean, the same thing applies when you're kind of constructing that in the process of their user experience, right? Like, I want to keep just the very base essentials for them to focus on. That's going to move the needle the most. But, we can have all the conversations via I'm talking to them, in our chats or texts or whatever. But in terms of like what they really need to know, it's like 2 to 3 things.
Yeah, it's also like this. Like, you take somebody who's getting started on their fitness journey. Now, I could think of 50 things the person could change right now to make profound impact, but they're not going to do 50 things. They're going to do one thing. And I have to pick the one thing, or allow them to pick the one thing that they're going to be most consistent doing. And then when they get that one down, then we add something else. One of the biggest mistakes coaches and trainers make is they throw everything but the kitchen sink at this potential client, overload them with too many things, even if the client is on board and goes for it. It's such a radical change from their current way of living that it's not sustainable. They haven't built the skills that you need in order to do all these different things, this crazy change in my lifestyle. It's one small step at a time is how you walk 1,000 miles. So that's what we mean by simplification. going crazy with your, okay, here's your Aura ring, here's your this app, let's measure your heart rate variability, do this, give me all these numbers, here's all these, you are going to blow people out of the water. And even if you do get somebody that's willing to follow and do all of these things, they're not going to stay very long, and you're going to lose them because they're not going to be consistent.
In other words, don't over communicate. And along the lines of communication, something I want to add to the points that we made, because this was a game changer for me with the online coaching space, which was I started to do this like 1 hour call before they would start, where they'd actually get a Zoom call with me where we would basically talk about what we were going to be doing. I learned a long time ago in the brick and mortar space how important it was to forecast to your clients what we would be doing. It's a mistake I think trainers make. This is both in brick and mortar and online, where they get someone committed to personal training, and they, whatever it be, a package or a month or two of training, and they sell it. And then that's the last bit of talking about what we're going to be doing together as far as the programming and like what to look ahead. And one of the challenging things for personal trainers is to re-sign clients after they've already sold them their first package of training. One of the mistakes that they make is they wait until that is almost up, and then they wait and hope the client saw great results and they're going to want to re-sign with them, versus them having communicated this process from the very beginning. So when I would take this call, when we first would meet each other, I would forecast my entire plan and let them know what to expect. And so this is something that I think that we miss out on, is this: if you've been training people long enough, you know what the ups and downs look like. It's not like it's this linear results where they just get stronger and stronger and they can lose weight, and it's like get better, better, better. It's like there's this kind of up and down of going through this, of consistency and inconsistent, and seeing a little bit of body fat come off to plateaus. And it's important that you lay that foundation, or you communicate that from the very beginning, so that when it happens later on, it doesn't seem like it was unexpected. You expected that to happen. And so this is really important, that when you first start with them, that you have this call or meet with them where you talk about, this is what we're going to. It also sets you up for your potential re-sign if they need to buy more personal training for you. So it's like, hey, for the next 2 months, Justin, this is what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on your nutrition, a lot of the mobility and the squat assessment stuff that we talked about. In this first month or so too, we're going to be building your metabolism. So I don't expect for us to see a lot of weight come off the scale. You might notice it is. In fact, sometimes you might see your clothes fitting a little bit different. Don't freak out. This is totally normal. Right now, we're really trying to rebuild your metabolism. We're not focusing on just losing weight yet. Don't worry. We'll get to that part.
Love this.
Then in the second month, we're going to transition into this. And so you're laying this all out for them for what it looks like for the next 2, 3, 4, 6 months, or a year, if you can plan it out that long. And then as they go through this process, then nothing seems unexpected.
Absolutely. So look, because of this, here's what we've done. We've put together a 3-day training. It's free. It's for trainers, and we're going to teach you how to close deals, how to present training, how to forecast your business. It's totally free for anybody who wants to be a trainer or a coach. It's at mindpumptrainercourse.com. Again, mindpumptrainercourse.com, 3-day free training taught by myself and Adam. We know you're going to enjoy it. Now, you can also find us on social media. So Justin is on Instagram at mindpumpjustin. I'm on Instagram at mindpumpdestefano, and Adam is on Instagram at mindpumpadam.